So this is sort of the base setup for Dragonhunt. Everybody's got a hero, 4 knights, 6 men-at-arms, and 2 snipers. And you'll never get more snipers, although there are more in the counter mix. They're positioned in the castle for the hero and knights, in the villages for the men-at-arms and the snipers. Great. Now, each player in turn, starting with the first player, and I've just decided to assign my normal upper left corner will be the first player, but I assign the colors based on the names of the castles. You don't have to do that, obviously, but I like to try to do something. The question, of course, is should yellow be the sea, the castle of the sea, or the silver castle? That and blue, that was the hardest coloring choice for me, although none of them work terribly well. The Castle of the North might work that way too. I don't know. Anyway, starting with the first player, he's got to place 1 man-at-arms, and then the second player places 1. And they have to be placed essentially anywhere, not next to something. I don't know if they can place them in the swamp. I seem to remember the list. Mountain, forest, swamp are open, not next to an opponent's piece. You specifically can't place them in villages or castles or cottages or anything like that. So here's where it gets kind of, what's the point? You know, it's easier to defend if you end up taking someone else's cottage location, if you can place yourself near it, but it's also kind of useful to throw your pieces up near Brimstone, because you might be able to get an extra attack in that way. So I'm going to kind of formulate tactics for the different players. On odd, they'll go straight for Brimstone. On even, they might go for a more expansionist tactic. We'll see that it doesn't make much difference, but okay, he's going straight for Brimstone. He's going to go straight for Brimstone as well. Whoops. And he can't place up here. Being in the mountains gives him some defensive bonus. That's like +2 to your defensive strength. So that'll be a +3 to the die roll. Let's see how yellow feels. Yellow is going to go for a more aggressive stance. Now the question is, who does he want to be aggressive against? I would lean more towards blue for the simple reason that villages are easier to take than castles. The payoff's pretty high for a castle, though. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 here. And he'll immediately start carving out some space over there near the village. And, you know, I don't want to go through all the setup. We're sort of defining the broad scheme of the setup here. You don't necessarily have to set up near a neighbor. I could set up over here. The problem is when you're playing in a game without 6 players, there's going to be castles and villages that are easier to take. They're going to be less occupied. It's like 2 knights and, what is it, maybe 4 men-at-arms? Yeah, 4 men-at-arms in each unused castle or village, which makes them significantly easier to deal with. Of course, player castles and villages could become very weak as troops are sent out. They're not really necessary to win the game. All right, so I'll keep going. The reason you want to be nearby, though, is because you have, you know, more ability to support your pieces with other pieces. I guess presumably. None of that really matters. That's just how my mind starts thinking when I'm faced with this kind of game. The truth is, this is your goal. That's all you care about. Stop, you know, trying to play a war game with this, because it really isn't much as it might look like. Everybody's placed 1 piece. We've gone to the second. Brown's placing here. This is giving him a better grip on Brimstone, a better proportion of the nearby area. And it means that purple can't place, for example, here, which he couldn't have anyway, because it's next to the cave. But it does sort of carve out some extent there. And we see about half the players are going straight for Brimstone, half think that they can do something. That doing something could actually be somewhat effective in stripping away troops from other players. Second time around, Orange has managed, you know, this advantage in being able to grab a lot of the space next to Brimstone, thus cutting into what purple can actually do with what looked like a humongous amount of space. Around, and we can see that pieces can actually be placed kind of defensively too. Now this limits where blue can kind of draw in deeper into green's territory, and it's not necessarily bad for what green's heading for. Purple's doing kind of the same, not so much defensively, but claiming out more space around Brimstone. None of this matters. Once the game actually starts, this placement, you know, pieces are going to be moving hither and thither, so it's not that huge a factor, really. It's just, where does Brimstone end up near you? And it's kind of dangerous to be near him because he can move into your space and kill your pieces. You might get lucky, though, and wound him, I guess. And that's the end of the line there. We'll shake up the cup and we'll draw for the cave. Let's see what we get. And we get the Banisher. I'll tell you what he does in a moment. But let's pull one for the log as well. This is the Teleporter. Alright, let's see what these guys do. The Banisher. The Banisher's got a combat strength of 5 and 1, a movement of 5 flying. If he moves next to any other piece, he can attack the piece. If he wins, the player who is moving him may send the losing counter to any empty space on the board. If the Banisher ties or loses, nothing happens to the other unit. The first player may not use the Banisher to attack his own units. And he can only attack once per Fantastic Being round. If it is attacked during combat and wins, the attacking unit is killed as per normal combat. The Banisher's power is only active when he's the attacker. Alright, how does he work if he's the second player's, the second being's control? Because you usually don't get the opportunity to use things. And here, unfortunately, you have to kind of look up back into the rules because I don't think they made it clear. Okay, so if he runs into something, he will attack things, and whoever controls him still gets to do that movement. It's just whoever's moving him doesn't have control over what he goes and attacks. And then the other one is the Teleporter, who has a movement of 6 flying and only a 1 combat strength. When the first player controls the Teleporter, he can teleport any one of his units to any space that's adjacent to the Teleporter. This is done after the Teleporter moves. You cannot attack the Teleporter in the same turn that you use her power, but you can attack her at any other time without restriction. Why would you want to attack one of these? To kill it? Because if you wound it, it goes back to its location, which isn't too good. But if you kill it, it goes back in the cup, and a new random critter will be drawn the next turn. So if you don't like the mix of critters, it might be worth spending some effort to wipe one out. Usually, though, unless you're the first player, you probably don't want to wipe one out, because then you have the being choice, so you might get something more interesting. Because otherwise, you're kind of looking at, well, gee, you know, is somebody getting a huge advantage off this critter, or is there a potential huge advantage that we all don't share? So there's usually very little desire to go hunt these down. You know, it costs you movement points on a card. There are lots of things you can do with those movement points on the card. The most useful is to wound Brimstone, but I don't know, you might get yourself hooked into the thought that there are other useful things like taking villages. I would say they're about as valuable as trying to wipe these things out, but that's just my impression, having played this quite a few times and kind of been disappointed with the facet that there's really only one thing you want to do it. Well, we start things off with Brimstone's movement. This is my final setup, if I haven't mentioned that before. I walked away and did Brown's got the being choice. He's the first player. So he's got the first shot to move Brimstone. And he kind of wants to get him towards his own pieces over there. Gets a roll of 3 and 6. 3 would allow him to move Brimstone this way. He doesn't like that. He might have to lose pieces to get that first swing in, but it's worthwhile. Now we go to orange. Orange gets 2 and 5. 5 would slide this way. That's appealing. 2 is in the wrong direction. I also have a setup to deal with Brimstone. Now we go to yellow. Yellow gets 1 and 6. Well, this is kind of cool because either way I get to hit something. I'm going to attack one of brown's knights. This is the danger to being set up like this. Now that knight is in terrain, woods. That gives him a total strength of 3. We roll a pair of dice. Gotta remember who's going. 9, 10, 11, 12. This is first wound. We're going to draw... Oh, no. This is single piece. We're going to draw a dragon card. That's the effect. And so now we get to see what one of these is. Brimstone kills all pieces in your attacking force. So the attacking force is just this one piece in this case. This knight is dead. He'll come back at the end of the hand. 4 card plays by everyone. And now we go over to blue's turn with the dragon. 1 and 5. Well, let's just keep rocking. This is only a 2 strength. 8, 9, 10. Brimstone wounds the defender. When one of your characters gets wounded, he goes over to the cottage. Green gets to roll. 3 and 4 in this direction. It's kind of hard to tell. Green's not really positioned to deal with Brimstone right now. And finally purple gets to go. With a 5 and a 6, we'll send Brimstone out here. That might cause some conflicts between orange and brown. That puts us to the next step in the game, which I'm going to find the sequence of play just to put it there. But I don't know if there is a good one there. It's going to be the fantastic being phase, but, well, we'll just do it. So, at this point, brown gets to choose one of the beings. There's this banisher, which is quite powerful, perhaps, and then the teleporter. I can't combine my units with a hero, so I don't want to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teleport my hero to fight Brimstone right away. But I may want to teleport a knight over there. Let me see what the movement point cost is for forests. It's 2, so I might have some trouble getting everything in place, but I'm going to take this. 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to grab a knight and drop it into place here. And that puts me in a stronger position. Now the other player, purple, has the banisher, and that's directions 2 and 3. I can move this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not really helpful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to head down this way. It doesn't hit anything, so it's not really an issue. If it's going to fly over stuff, I think. I'm not sure if it was blocked. I'm not going to worry about it. I might have been able to essentially teleport one of my own units using that, but I think you're forbidden from doing that if you're the actual character. The banisher is kind of dangerous because he could actually get killed in a battle and go into a cup. And the ones that actually like to fight have that problem. Now we're going to go to the hand. I'm going to take a break here. If I can find, my ex-wife made one of these, but it didn't get filled out terribly, but I'll mark it that way. The most difficult thing to do solitaire in this game, and maybe in the game as a whole, is to select your movement card. Now, to some extent, you could just say, just roll a die, throw it down, whatever. And That may actually work for most players, but we have the fortune that the person in the best position to deal with the dragon and give it a wound right off is, and each person has to collect their own wounds, is the person we have going first. So we can actually count out how many movement points he wants to do. He'd like to go early, because if he doesn't go early, if he doesn't go earlier than orange, orange can also swarm in there and do something. So let's take a quick look. This doesn't have to move. I want as much strength as I can get, but I want to buy it as cheaply as I can get, because then I'll be more likely to go earlier. No guarantees there. I'm going for a first wound. My goal is really to get a 13. Now, that means I need like at least 6 strength points for an above average chance of getting a 13. Obviously I have 2 here. I've got some more that I could get here. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That'll get me that 6. That looks like the cheapest way in. Now, I've got to kind of hope that that's going to work, but that's going to be my pick, is an 11. And you can kind of see how the numbers are chosen there. What about orange? Well, he's also looking at the same kind of idea. What can I get in there to get in there quick? Unfortunately, I've got all of these right there. Obviously, I could just run over with my hero and take a shot pretty cheaply. But let's see if I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Could get me a 5. That's about as good as I'm going to do unless I just throw the hero in. Because from here, 1, 2, 3, 4... 12 is my highest number. So 10 sounds good to me. Already we know something that we shouldn't. Okay, but what about these other players? Good God. So they have a problem. No matter what you set up out here, let's ignore the fact that they're kind of ignoring the goal of the game. Whatever you set out there, your best piece for taking a location is your sniper. You really want to get at least one, you want to get your one shot off with the sniper. But he's far away. Sniper has the advantage, he can declare what he's targeting too. I see some interesting factors here. 1, 2. Oh, I think you have to stop when you move adjacent to an enemy piece. Something tells me that. It's been a long time since I played. Yeah, like a couple weeks. Maybe I'm mistaken. Looks like I'm mistaken there. I thought you had to. Alright. Yeah, you just can't enter into an enemy stack. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gets me my hero to Brimstone, and the hero's a good shot. The problem with the hero is if he dies, you gotta wait the entire hand to get him back. So I might be losing another shot at Brimstone, but okay. So we're looking at 6 there, and I'll tell you what else I want to do. I want to kill this teleporter. If Brimstone's around here, that's kind of cool for me. So I'm going to put a 10 down. That's my thinking. And that's what's kind of cool here is, okay, yeah, I know there's a 10 out there. But I'm not really worrying about that kind of thing. I'm looking at what's the number that works for me? What can I do? You know, I come up with a strategy, come up with it, get the number, and then I sit with that. But now it gets tougher because these guys don't have an aim at Brimstone. They don't have any real goal in mind in that direction. So blue, for example, would like to launch an attack on the village, say. Well, if he wants to do that, he's got kind of a problem here. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get his sniper into play. Okay, that'll help. You can risk your hero in doing this. It's only a village, so the hero can probably wipe most of it out. 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 for good luck, maybe. So odd, I'll go with 10. Even, I'll go with 11. We'll put an 11 down. Now, we'll see if I remember what my plans are. That's the one problem with planning the way I play. You know, if I was playing this opposed, my thinking would probably keep me to my turn. No guarantees. What about green here? Well, green also has a potential to hit something up here with the village. But I can't really get at it. I've got a lot of power right there, though. So what if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, we'll put a 12 in. 12 gives us a lot of room to maneuver anyway. And if Brimstone comes near me, well, then I'll have lower numbers to play. And finally, purple here. Purple definitely wants to keep control of this Brimstone thing. Now, one thing to do is to play a low bid for the simple hope of trying to grab a creature. I wasn't one of the special critters. Not terribly valuable with the teleporter here because Brimstone's over here. If Brimstone moves into my powerhouse, yeah, the teleporter could be very useful. So, although of course I could just use it and drop a hero in there and attack. I don't see anything I really want to do. So on an odd, I'm just going to drop a 7 down, and that's what we're going to do. Okay. And now these are all revealed. And our number one pick is the 7 here. So he's going to get to move 7. Well, what the hell? You know, I mean, seriously, there's nothing that I have as a tremendous goal. What might help? 2. The Banisher could be kind of annoying, but I don't really want to attack it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. So I'm going to launch 2 attacks. The first one, and I'll use the red die for the attacker here, is 4 against a 2 defense in the woods there. There I'm just trying to give myself some defense in my village. I roll strictly higher. So this is killed. Now here, oh, and I could advance into here if I want. I don't think I'm required to. I know I'm required to, no, I don't know anything. I don't think I'm required to. Yeah, I am required. Not sure the sniper is required to. And here I've got 5 to 2. That gives me a +3. This is kind of goofy because if I lose my hero, it's really dumb. We're both wounded. So I find his cottage and his cottage, and that's not too bad. And I used my movement points. These get discarded somewhere. I don't know quite where I want to keep them to keep them out of sight. Okay, so the next number up would be 10, but we've got a tie there, as with 11, so we're not going to see either of them go next. they have a quick dice off, which seems a little inelegant. And now we've got a 12 here, and what was my plan here? My plan here was to hit this village. 5. Oh, I thought I had them both coming in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a 13. I'm not going to quite make it. All right. Ah, jeez. Let me think a little. Thinking, though, I have to remember. The second being's not assigned yet. I don't know who's going to be going last, but I know who's going first, and I want to keep that in mind there. I think my plan was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and maybe some other dude. So let's start this. 6. 10. I got 2 more move points to spend. Not quite sure what to do with these villagers. I'm going to dump them into the castle just to keep me equivalent there. Now we're going to see a village attack. And I don't get to pick who I'm attacking because I don't have a sniper. But I'm going to start with the knight, and he'll be fighting at +3 against one of those villagers. And he kills one, and they just sort of start falling like that. I just keep going now. I don't have to stop. He kills another. He kills another. Another. He's a hero after all. And you can see it's pretty easy to wipe out the village. The castle's a little tougher because it's got knights in it, so it's got a strength of 4. And now finally I get a sniper too. And I'm in there, and now I occupy another village. Wasn't terribly hard to do, actually. But now I've got an enemy on my border, somebody I've deprived of something perhaps, although actually not so much. I've deprived him of the ability to get replacements, I think, which come in per village occupied, but not really, because he's going to get 2 men-at-arms no matter what. Reinforcement, I'm sorry, that's reinforcements. Replacements, I again have a minimum that I'm allowed to get, which, if I don't have a village, I lose them though, so no. So my reinforcements, my something is not there. Yeah, my replacements is cut back, which is particularly painful because I've just lost a whole bunch of villagers. So, okay. It definitely hinders purple's position. That's the end of green with 12. Now we look at the 10s, and we're going to be playing one of them. We'll do yellow first. Yellow had something in mind when he bid 10. I believe he had an attack on the dragon. What's the 4? And by the way, the sniper can't attack the dragon. What was the 4 for? I had to have something in mind. I don't like that teleporter. I think that was it. Alright. I'll attack the teleporter. I've got +1. And I kill it. Because in the cup, we're going to get another critter next turn. And now I attack the dragon, and I'm at +5 first wound. I go on this table, and I get a 15. Brimstone is wounded, and attacker is killed. Well, I just lost my hero. Don't worry, I can get him back. Brimstone's wounded, so I get a wound marker. This may be the best you can kind of hope for in any given hand, is one hit on it, but And here's the biggie. Brimstone's now enraged, which means he puts a -2 to all these die rolls, which is bad for the attackers. And, well, until he burns something down, a castle or a village, he's going to stay enraged unless some card or something changes that. That's going to put us over to orange. Orange's plans have been kind of foiled by the wounding of Brimstone. However, I feel like I still want to go forward. I'm not going to risk my hero in this. That wasn't the plan anyway. But 1, 2, 3, 4. That gets me 3. 5, 6, 7, 8. I only have 2 more movement points left. I'm not going to get another guy on there. This gives me my 5 points. Why this isn't so bad, so some of the Brimstone results say lose 1 attacker or whatever, and some of them, and also these things are fairly easy to recuperate. The hero's a big hit that I can throw in at someone. As to that big hit I can throw in at someone, nah. I was thinking about just tossing this here, kill that knight. It doesn't do a whole hell of a lot. I can't see anything better. So I'll make my attack with the knight. That's at +2 only, which is sufficient to kill it. Unfortunately, that puts me here where I'm in danger of getting shot. I wasn't thinking very carefully. Okay, and here I'm at +5 -2 is just +3. I don't like going at that, but it's only the first wound, so. And I get a nice big roll. Brimstone is wounded, 1 attacker killed. Brimstone stays here. I'll lose this guy, and I get a wound marker now as well. So, you know, in a sense, these guys are, it would seem like the final killing of Brimstone is some sort of climactic event, and it is in terms of tediousness, in terms of amount of die rolling, etc., to get through it, but it's not as difficult as getting the wounds. Getting the wounds is kind of the hard part of the game. Usually you can have your hero charge forward with his sword, you can figure out some way to get to Brimstone, you can do quite well, and even if he's enraged, it's not that big a deal. Now we have players 11 on the 11 thing, and brown is going to go first here. That means blue's going to get this second being marker, which means they'll be controlling. It isn't much of an advantage, somewhat the direction of the second being. Okay, so what about brown? Well, brown really was counting on hitting Brimstone too, but it's looking like he's gotten heavily outflanked here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That could give me like 4 in there. That's about the best I can do unless I clear a hole with some of those. And the nice thing about attacking is you get to advance. So let's take a look. Well, 2, 4. That seems plausible. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, that's not going to help. So I've spent 8. I got 3 more left. What do I want to do with a 3? Throw him out that way. Okay, so now I first get to attack here, and I'm at +1 on that attack because it's a knight against an infantry. And I succeed in getting a hit on it, so orange loses its, and I get to advance. And now I've got that same +3, +5, -2 that orange took. It's not a great option, but we might get lucky off a dragon card or something. So indeed we get to draw a dragon card because 7 + 3 is 10. Brimstone attacks a village of your choice. All right, well, orange pissed me off. Plus orange has a wound marker, so we're gonna hit him. Already we're beginning to see enmity forming. Normally, Brimstone would just be a +1 for the village defense, but I'm allowing 1 unit to try to help defend, just so that the chart can actually get to the higher levels. This is going to be a castle, village, or cottage table. And what are we talking about? We're talking about +2 for the village, but -2 for his enraged status. We get an 8. 3 occupants die. Yeah, no more. Brimstone goes home, and he's not pissed. Well, that didn't work, but it wasn't terrible. I didn't lose my pieces. Now we're on blue. Blue was kind of setting up for an attack on here after seeing that green gained a village that way. Hey, why don't we be the ones that can advance? 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sounds good to me. There's 10. I got 1 more. This guy's not useful to me anywhere else, so I'll throw him that way too. That's going to be my 11 moves, but I get to attack. I'm going to open up with the sniper. I get to pick something of his. I'll shoot his sniper. I'm at +2 on this. Nice thing about the sniper, as shown here, that would be a 3 to a 5. He would normally be injured. The sniper doesn't get injured when he's using his special sniper attack, but it's only your first attack in the turn. So now I can use the hero, and he's going to just throw men-at-arms up. I'm at +3 on the die roll there. And we start chugging through these. There is a danger, though. You lose your hero, and you lose your big piece. I don't think we need to watch me roll all these out. And the hero makes it through and captures the village. Wading through gore. All right, that's made it through the entire first round of the first hand. So these cards are kind of put aside. They'll come back after 4 rounds. But now we're in a situation where we're starting off again. I'm going to load this one up because I think it's shown most of the mechanisms in play until those that come in the very end of the game. But before we do, let's just draw one of these. Oh, we get the teleporter back. Great. Okay, let's send this.